17. They told me it was colon cancer, but by the time they said the words, it had already spread. The doctor was gentle, his voice low, deliberate. He said, "If you'd come in a year earlier, we could have caught it." I wanted to laugh, not because it was funny, but because I'd heard that line before from friends, from the news, from my daughter who kept telling me to get checked, but every time she mentioned it, I waved her off. "Oh, sweetheart, I'd say I'm fine." Those things are for people who don't take care of themselves. The truth is, it wasn't pride that kept me away. It was shame. Shame is such a small word for something that big. I was raised in a time when women didn't talk about their bodies. We didn't say words like colon or rectum or stool. We whispered them, or we didn't say them at all. I grew up believing that modesty was a virtue, that silence was grace. Even when my body started whispering warnings, the pain, the bleeding, the exhaustion, I told myself it was nothing. Probably my diet, probably stress, probably age. That word probably was how I talked myself into dying quietly. My name is Patricia. I'm 72 years old, and I am dying because I was too polite to talk about my body. There's a sentence for you. The kind that stings even when you say it softly. I still remember the first time I noticed the blood. It was just a faint red trace when I went to the bathroom. I froze, stared at it, and then told myself I must have imagined it. I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell my doctor. I didn't tell anyone. I just folded the experience neatly into a drawer in my mind, labeled "Don't make a fuss." That's how women of my generation survived, by not making a fuss, by ignoring pain, smiling through discomfort, keeping everything clean and quiet and decent. Months passed, then years. The fatigue got worse. I stopped gardening because bending over made me dizzy. I stopped walking with my friends because I needed to rest halfway. When people asked how I was, I said, "Fine, always fine." That word again, such a liar. Fine is what you say when you're falling apart in ways no one can see. When I finally went to the doctor, it wasn't because of the pain. It was because my daughter made the appointment herself and drove me there like a stubborn chauffeur who refused to take no for an answer. I sat on the table, embarrassed that I was there, embarrassed that my body was misbehaving, and embarrassed that I had ignored it for so long. When the doctor suggested a colonoscopy, I blushed like a schoolgirl. Is that really necessary? I asked, as if modesty could save me. The day of the test, I nearly cancelled. I told my daughter I didn't want strangers looking at me down there. She said, "Mom, they're doctors, not strangers." But that's how it felt. Invasive, Shameful. No one teaches women like me how to talk about their bodies without apologizing first. When the results came back, the room went quiet. I could tell from the doctor's face before he spoke. Cancer. He said it gently, like a confession. He told me we could try treatment, but it had spread beyond the colon. It's not your fault, he said, but it was not in the way he meant, not biologically, but spiritually. I'd silenced my body for decades, ignored every plea it made. I had treated modesty like medicine, and it had poisoned me slowly. The treatments came and went: surgery, chemo, radiation. Each one took a little more from me: my hair, my appetite, my energy. The first time I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself, I cried. Not because I was afraid, but because I realized I'd spent my entire life avoiding being seen, and now I finally was raw, fragile, una adorned, and it was too late. My daughter comes every day now. She's gentle with me, but I can see the anger in her eyes, not at me, not really, but at the silence that raised me. She tells me her friends get checked every year, that awareness campaigns are everywhere now. I'm glad the next generation talks about things we were taught to hide. I just wish I hadn't learned the lesson so late. Sometimes, when she's gone and the house goes quiet, I think about all the other women my age, still whispering about their pain, the ones who tell themselves it's nothing serious, who cross their legs a little tighter when the doctor asks personal questions. I want to reach through the walls and shake them. I want to say, your modesty won't save you. Your politeness won't keep you alive. But old habits die slower than bodies. I keep a journal now. My daughter says it helps her understand what I'm feeling. I write about the small things, the nurse who hums, while she checks my IV. The way sunlight still finds the corner of the window each morning. The smell of the soup my daughter brings. I write about gratitude, too, not the shallow kind, but the kind that comes when you realize how precious every breath still is, even the hard ones. If you're listening to this and you're over 50, please don't wait. Don't let fear of embarrassment cost you years. Get the test. Ask the question. Tell your doctor the truth, even if your voice shakes. There is no dignity in silence. There's only regret. I know I lived it. I am living it. And if you're younger, if you have a mother, an aunt, a grandmother who still blushes at the word colon, don't let her smile it away. Make the appointment, drive her there. Sit with her, hold her hand if she's scared. Be the voice she was never allowed to have. People tell me I'm brave for talking about it now. But this isn't bravery. It's an apology for every woman who died too quietly, too politely, too soon. For every daughter who had to learn the truth through grief instead of conversation, I don't have much time left. The nurses are kind. The medicine keeps me comfortable. My daughter reads to me at night stories, poems, bits of the news. Sometimes I close my eyes and pretend I'm back in my garden, dirt under my nails, sun on my face. I like to think the earth understands us women, how we hold everything inside until we split open. If I could leave one message behind, it would be this: modesty won't save your life, but honesty might. Talk about the things that make you uncomfortable. Say the words your mother couldn't, because silence is not virtue, it's surrender. And I've surrendered enough, so go, ask, check, speak. Because the body remembers even when the mind wants to forget, and it's not shameful to survive. It's sacred